everyone. Welcome to yoga. For the last couple of weeks, we've been working on yoga for creativity, and we're going to continue that work, continue working to overcome creative blocks. The first week, we worked on tapping into the right and the left sides of the brain by working the right and the left sides of the body. Last week, we focused on overcoming negative self-talk or negative internal dialogue by showering ourselves with positive affirmations, but also by reminding ourselves or putting into practice maybe for the first time that our yoga mats are a ceasefire zone, which means we don't get to talk down to ourselves when we come to our yoga mats. So we're going to continue the work on both of those. We're going to continue crossing the midline, doing asymmetrical poses, which we always do in yoga. So we'll keep tapping into the right and the left sides of the brain to utilize our creative and our analytical sides. And then we'll also just remind ourselves we're going to cease fire on our yoga mats. No negative self-talk. If it feels like that's going to start creeping up for you when you're holding a pose, just remind yourself that I don't get to do this. And then if you're not to the point of being positive towards yourself, at the very least, practice neutral observation. So right now, it's not good, it's not bad, it just is what it is. Tonight, we're going to overcome our creative blocks by tapping into our imagination. So imaginative play. Oftentimes, we just get stuck. We can't really get those creative juices flowing. So there's three ways that I like to get my creative juices flowing. One, is fake it till you make it, right? So I sit down to write. I've got nothing. Nothing is coming to my brain. So I just start writing. I know first draft is going to be really, really rough. I can always go back and revise, but that just gets those ideas flowing. Two, I like to take a step back, and oftentimes I actually do this physically by stepping back or leaning back from my work and allowing myself to put together the pieces visually. Besides writing, often in my day job, I get the opportunity to create social media flyers, and you'll see me leaning back, kind of doing this thing as I think. But also, taking a step back can also mean looking at other people's work and just getting some ideas from other artists. So I'll look at brochures or magazine layouts or color palettes, and that usually sparks something as well. And number three, imaginative play, which is what we're going to be working on today. If I'm having a hard time writing a scene in my fiction, I will close my eyes and I will let that scene start to unfold like a movie in my brain, focusing on sight, smell, sounds, feelings, emotions, maybe of the characters. And that will really get me into a place where I can kind of feel a little bit more creative and passionate about what I'm putting forth onto the page. So in our physical practice tonight, we are going to be, our theme is just a low, slow flow. So like I promised, we're going to keep these practices low to the ground, which is good for right before bed, so you're not getting too amped up when you're trying to fall asleep. But we're also going to do a flow, so to get those creative juices flowing. And then at the end of our practice, we will, after our Shavasana, we're going to come up and we're going to do a imaginative meditation. So I'm going to walk you through sight, sound, smells, feelings, and tapping into all of those senses. And if you want to take it one step further, after everything is done, after we've done our meditation, maybe grab a journal and just jot some ideas down. Let those juices flow. And as a reminder, these practices are for everyone. Even if you don't think you're a creative person, we all need creativity in our lives to help us overcome difficult situations or problem solving in a creative way. So this is for everyone. You will probably want some sort of a pillow to sit up on for your meditation at the end of class, a pillow or a bolster, or if you have a meditation pillow. Block will come in handy, and then a strap as well. We're actually going to start on our backs tonight. And you can lie flat to start. Hands just rest at your sides, palms face up. And then just start to focus in on your breath this evening. Maybe taking a few deep inhales and exhales. In through your nose, out through your mouth to release the day so far. And before you settle too much into your grounding and centering this evening, just take a moment to feel the ground underneath you, its temperature, if it's hard or soft. Feel the temperature of the room. Are there any breezes? Hear the sounds around the room. Maybe you have some music playing. Or maybe you have family members home and you can hear a little bit of a TV in the background, or there's dogs or cats, animals making noises. Notice if you smell anything. Maybe you have a candle burning or some oils. Or other smells that might linger around your home. And then just imagine as though you can just see yourself. Your eyes are closed, but picture yourself lying on the ground. Seeing yourself breathe and relax. Seeing you take care of yourself. Practicing self-care. And we'll take a few breaths here, just being aware of your surroundings, tapping into your senses. And then when you're ready, you're going to bring a little movement back into your body, into your limbs. Maybe take a big stretch, stretching your hands up overhead, stretching through your toes. And then you're going to bend your knees, plant your feet on the ground. Bring your feet together, soles of the feet come together. You're going to open up your knees. This is Baddha Konasana, Supta Baddha Konasana. Interlace your fingers, press your hands down towards your feet. And then inhale, press your hands up overhead. If your arms don't release all the way down to the ground, that's okay. You can just let them hover. And then exhale, release your hands back down. Keep them interlaced. Inhale, scoop your hands back up. Press out through the palms. And then exhale, release your hands back down. Inhale, hands scoop up. Exhale, hands down. One more time. Inhale, hands reach up. Press up through your palms. Allow your legs to release with gravity. Exhale, release your hands down. Draw your knees in towards your chest. Hug onto your knees. Maybe rock side to side or make some circles with your knees. And then gently open your eyes if your eyes are closed. You're going to reach your right hand up overhead. Your left foot is going to tap onto the ground. Your left arm releases to the ground. Navel draws in. Draw it down towards the ground and think about connecting your ribs down towards the ground as well. Keeping that work there. We're going to switch sides. Engage your core. Switch sides. Keeping the core engaged the whole time. We're going to keep alternating between sides. Little core warm up, little arm and leg warm up. If you want a little bit more for the core, continue working to draw the abdominals down, and you can straighten your leg a little bit more. And maybe you tap the ground, maybe you don't. Keep engaging. Don't let those ribs pop up. Don't forget to breathe. And then when you're ready, both knees draw into center, hug onto your knees, and rock side to side. And then we're going to make our way up to a cross-legged position, and actually all the way up to hands and knees. And you can do that just by rolling onto one side, pressing yourself all the way up. Or if it feels okay, you can rock up and down on your spine. Sometimes I can get a few cracks out of my spine. And then once you're all the way up, you cross your legs, come on to hands and knees. All right, hands underneath your shoulders, knees under hips. And actually, let's take the hands forward, just about a hand's length. Spread your fingers. Press down into the base of the thumb, base of the index finger. Wrap it around to the base of the pinky. And then inhale, lift your head and your heart. Reach your heart forward. The belly can drop a little bit. Exhale, round. As you round, we're going to reach back into, I like to call it almost child's pose. And then inhale, back up into cow. Exhale, round, back into child's. And we'll keep alternating here. A flow or vinyasa type practice is a really good way to observe the body. Right now you can tune into your spine and just notice those areas where your spine maybe isn't so fluid. And see if you can bring a little more movement. Or maybe you notice your hips get a little stuck. Last time, make your way into cow pose. From here, toes curl under, hips lift up and back.
And you can pedal out your feet, shake out your hips, wag the tail, pop the toes, shake out the head and neck. And then come to a still with your down dog. Practice bending your knees. Press from your hands. Slide your hips back in space. Relax your shoulders. Then slowly start to straighten the legs. From here, we're going to roll forward into plank. Shoulders over wrists. Press your heels back, navel draws in. As an option, you can always come to hands and knees. Then we're going to hug the arms in, keeping the navel strong, the heart open, slowly roll lower down to the ground. Hands come to about chest height. You roll your shoulders back, elbows stay connecting in, toes press down into the ground, pelvis presses down. Pull your hands back towards your feet and curl your torso up. Cobra pose. Keep the back of the head long. Tendency, and it's a tendency for me too, is to reach the chin forward and kind of pinching the neck. So you want to keep the neck long, draw the chin down. And exhale, release. Toes curl under. Press up to knees. Downward dog. Take 3 breaths here. Inhale in through the nose. Exhale out of the mouth. On your next inhale, we're going to roll forward into plank. Creating a straight line, or as much as you can, from your head down to your heels. And then as an option, you can drop your knees, elbows keep drawing in, heart stays open as you lower down. Inhale, cobra. Pelvis connects down, toes connects down, heart reaches forward. Navel draws up and in. The work here should come from the core. You should be able to lift your hands up off the ground and maintain the lift in your torso. Exhale, release. Toes curl under, press up to knees. Downward dog. 3 breaths. Relax in the shoulders, press the hips back in space. Inhale, right foot floats up. Let's pause here. Press out through the back heel. Toes draw back towards you. Inhale, bring your foot forward in between the hands. As an option, you can always take that foot out wide on the outside of the right hand. We're going to come down onto the back knee. Again, it's not the kneecap. It's above the knee on the fleshy part or the shin. Before we come up, you can use a block underneath your hands if you need a little extra space. But we're going to work on squeezing the knee, the back knee, and the heel towards one another. At the same time, draw your right hip back and your left hip forward. Navel draws in. When you're ready, inhale, sweep both hands up. You can also press your hands onto your thigh and lift your torso that way as well. This can be a little hard on the low back for some people. If that's the case, lean your torso forward a little bit. Don't come into it quite as high. Otherwise, you're reaching from your back knee all the way up through the quadricep and the hip flexor, all the way up through the armpit, all the way up through the fingertips. Exhale, release your hands down. Back toes. Actually, we're not going to curl the back toes under. Scratch that. We're going to take the left hand onto the ground. The right hand comes to your knee. Roll your shoulder back. Use your knee to press the heart open. We're going to reach the hand forward, right hand forward. Sweep it down. Palm faces up. Sweep your arm forward. Let's do that a couple more times. Sweep it down. Palm faces up as you come around. Sweep it forward. One more time. Next time you make your way forward, reach from the back knee all the way through the fingertips. Exhale, release the hands down on the outside of the right foot or on the inside, doesn't matter. Toes curl under, step back, downward dog. And pedal out the knees, shake out the hips. Bend your knees, slide the hips back, straighten the legs. Maybe you straighten the legs over time, and that's okay. Left foot floats up. Press from the heel, from the fingertips all the way through the heel. Toes draw back towards you. Few breaths here. Then when you're ready, navel draws in, bring your foot forward in between the hands, or some bodies prefer on the outside of the left hand. Come down onto the back knee. Pause. You can use your block. Pause to set up, squeeze the front foot towards the back knee, hips square off. Hold that there. Navel draws in. Use your hands on your leg or reach the hands up. Find length from the back knee all the way up the front of the thigh, all the way up the armpit and out through the fingers. And then when you're ready, exhale, release the hands down. Come on to your right hand. Hand can be on the ground or on your block. And we're going to sweep the hand back again. So you're going to reach the hand forward and then sweep it back towards the foot. Palm faces up. Circle it back around. Sweep it down. Palm faces up. Circle around. Last one. As you make your way forward, pause here. Exhale, release, hands down. Back toes curl under. Step back, downward dog. Pedal it out. From your down dog, roll forward. Plank pose. When you're ready, lower all the way down. Inhale into your cobra. Pelvis presses down, toes press down. Core is doing the work. Exhale, release. Elbows stay hugging in as you press up to knees. That'll save your shoulders and your back. Downward dog. From here, inhale, come on to hands and knees. And then rise up. Hands come onto your hips. Elbows draw back. If you have the space in the wrists, you're going to turn your fingertips up your back with the heel of the hand on the low back. Elbows draw back towards one another. Press your hips forward. Your back of your heart is going to curl over your fingertips. Keep drawing the head back rather than dropping it all the way. We're going to hold here. Modified Ustrasana. Inhale, rise up. Come onto your knees, stretch your hands forward, take a puppy pose. Head can float above the arms. Inhale, rise up. Weight comes into your left hand. You're going to start to roll open to the right. The left foot is going to turn over to the left. So you got a little kickstand going on. From here, from modified side plank, you're going to reach your hand forward. Rather than up this time, palm faces the ground. Shoulder blades draw together. Shoulder blades press into the back of the heart, and maybe you can find a little bit of a side bendy back bend here. Exhale to release. You stay where you are. We're going to do the other side. So this time weight comes into the right hand. You're going to roll open to the left. Take the top leg back. The bottom leg is going to spin over to the right. Reach your hand over, up and over. Palm faces the ground. Heart turns up towards the ceiling. Find your breath. The breath can get a little restricted in back bends and in side bends. So see if you can breathe evenly into both sides of the lungs. Exhale, unravel, come back to hands and knees, and take your puppy pose. All right, from puppy pose, rise up, downward dog. Toes curl under, hips up and back. Right foot floats up, keep it straight, keep your legs straight, or bend your knee and open up the hips, find length from the hip joint all the way out through the knee. And then when you're ready, inhale, bring your foot forward in between the hands or to the outside. We're going to keep the back knee lifted this time. Squeeze the front heel and the back knee towards one another, or the back foot towards one another. Hips square, so right hip draws back, left hip draws forward. And we're going to do the same thing here. Reach your right hand forward, sweep it down. As it comes back around, palm faces up, and you're going to sweep it back around. Let's do it 2 more times. Last time, you're going to stay reaching forward. And then from here, go ahead and release your hand for a moment. You can bring it to your upper thigh. So we're going to come into a variation of side plank. Hand can be on your block or on the ground. You're going to take your back foot. Well, actually, first you're going to take your front foot and you're going to turn your toes to the right a little bit. Then you're going to come to the side, the pinky toe side of your back foot. From here, we're going to reach the hand. Let's reach it up this time. Reach it up. You're going to plug the top shoulder blade, the right shoulder blade into the bottom shoulder blade. Heart stays open. Don't sag in your hips. Find a little lift. Find a buoyancy. Exhale, release. Hands plant. Step back, downward dog. About 3 breaths. And then you're going to float your left foot up. Bring your foot forward in between the hands. or take it wide. Set up here by squaring the hips off. Left hip draws back, right hip draws forward. Squeezing the front heel, the back foot towards one another. Finding lift in the core. And then from here, we're going to do our upper body flow. Left hand reaches forward, reach it down. Sweep it back, palm faces up, sweep the hand forward. Do it a couple more times. One more time all the way around. Then reach the hand forward. Don't lock your elbow like I do. Keep a little bend there. And then hand comes onto your thigh while you set up for your side plank. Left toes spin to the left a little bit. Come onto the pinky toe side of the right foot. Don't sag in those hips. Find a lift. And then reach that hand up. And then when you're ready, exhale, release, step back, downward dog. Inhale, come onto hands and knees. Stretch hands forward. When you're ready, inhale, come onto hands and knees. Toes curl under, downward dog. Right foot floats up. Bend the knee, open up the hips as an option. And then we're going to come into pigeon pose. If pigeon is new for you, you might want some props to prop yourself up. We're going to take the right knee to the right wrist. Lay the leg onto the ground. The right foot turns, faces over to the left. It doesn't have to be at a 90-degree angle. Most people can't do a 90-degree angle. And then you kind of shimmy the back leg back a little bit. So you're coming into basically a half split. And from here, we often will just fold into our pose. But we don't want to do that in a really sloppy way. We want to find a little bit of control, a little bit of muscle tone in our pigeon. So you want to work on squeezing the back knee and the front knee towards one another. Navel draws in, pelvic floor draws up and in, and then you're going to draw your right hip back and your left hip forward. And over time, you'll work enough to where you can prop yourself up and then work on your mermaid pose. If you need a little assistance here, you might want to prop your hip with a block or a blanket. Sometimes this weight on the front knee is kind of hard on the knee. So if there's any pain in your knee, try propping. If that doesn't work, you can come onto your back, and I'll show you that here in a moment. So once you feel set up, we're going to pause here for about 5 to 10 breaths or so. Breaths are different for every person. Keeping your tone, you can start to fold forward. Maybe you put your head all the way to the ground or head onto a block. If this is too much on your knees, so if you're going to stay in pigeon, stay in pigeon. If this is too much on your knee, you're going to come onto your back. And we'll do a reclined pigeon. Cross your right ankle over your left knee. Draw the knees in. And you can even work on straightening that front leg for a little bit of the same effect. We'll take just a few more breaths here in whatever version of pigeon you're going to take. you're ready, if you're in traditional pigeon, you're going to curl your back toes under, straighten your back leg, and step back into downward dog. If you're on your back, you can just stay here, and we'll switch sides. I'm going to come back up into regular pigeon, so stay on your back if you need to. Left leg floats up. As an option, bend the knee, open up the hips. And then when you're ready, bring your knee forward, left knee to left wrist. Shimmy the right leg back. The left toes are facing over to the left. Before you fold into your pose, work on squeezing the front knee and the back knee towards one another. Hips square, navel draws in. Find that tone. Prop your back hip if you need to. And then when you're ready, you can fold over that front leg. If you're on your back, cross the left knee over the right ankle and draw the knees in towards the chest. And then when you're ready, hands plant. If you're on your back, you can make your way up to seated. Back toes curl under, straighten the back leg, step back, downward dog. And then we're going to all join each other on hands and knees. And you can sit back onto your knees with a block underneath your sitting bones if that feels better on your back. From here, we're going to do a little stretch for our upper body, cow face arms. I'm going to show you this from the front and the back side. Strap is really handy here in this variation. You're going to take your strap over your right shoulder. Reach your right hand up towards the ceiling, and then reach your hand down your back. Left hand reaches around and up your back, and then you relax your shoulders. From the other view, it looks like this. Think about squeezing your elbows in towards the midline. Ribs want to push forward, drop them down, just like we did at the beginning of class where we're doing our core work. They want to push forward, so drop them down as if you're drawing your core towards the floor. And you can close your eyes here and breathe. And then when you're ready, exhale, go ahead and release your arms. We'll do the other side. Strap comes over the left shoulder. Left hand reaches up your back and down your back, or up to the sky, and then hand reaches down the back. Right hand reaches around and up your back. Grab onto your strap if you need to. If you can clasp fingers, great, go for it. Hug the elbows in towards the body. Notice automatically my ribs like to push forward. Drop them down. Hug them in. Navel draws in as well. And then breathe.
Exhale, remove your strap. Set it to the side. Take your left hand to your right knee or right thigh, wherever it lands. Right hand comes back behind you. You can bring it to the floor behind you or to your hip. We're just going to do a simple twist. Exhale, unravel. We'll do the other side. Roll that back shoulder back. Heart stays open and twist. And then exhale, unravel. So I mentioned at the beginning of class that we were going to do Shavasana and then do our meditation. I think I'm going to switch it up a little bit. We're going to do Shavasana, and from Shavasana, we'll do our meditation, and that will just give you the opportunity to, once our meditation is done, just remain in Shavasana as long as you would like to. So since you maybe have some pillows available or a bolster, you can put a bolster under your knees if you'd like. Maybe you want to cover up with a blanket or put some socks on, whatever will make you really comfortable. Come on to your back. Palms face up towards the ceiling. You may want to lift your upper back a little bit and walk the shoulder blades together so the heart is open and not collapsing. And you may want to lift the hips and shake them out a little bit so that way your hips lie mostly even on the ground. And then just tune into your breath again, just like we did at the beginning of class. Feel the ground underneath you, the temperature of the room. Hear any sounds around your room. Notice any smells. And then just visualize yourself lying on the floor. Take this moment to connect and be mindful. And then you're going to shift your focus from your current state of being. And you're going to find yourself walking through a forest in the Pacific Northwest. So it's really green. And there's all kinds of different shades of green, light green, dark green, everything in between. And there's moss hanging from the branches. And there's moss covering the forest floor. You notice big ferns, berry bushes, and little white flowers peeking up. And as you take your stroll through the forest, you notice that the ground is cool on your bare feet. And the moss is super soft, like a cold, fuzzy blanket, and spongy. And there's a cool breeze through the forest. It's refreshing.
and you can smell the dampness of the forest. You can smell pines, leaves, dirt. And as you keep walking, you notice a clearing up ahead. It's a big blanket of moss. And there's trees surrounding it in a circle. And you walk into this clearing. And you look up and you notice that the branches from the trees part enough so you can see a circle of the sky, and it's blue, bright blue. And you lie down on the mossy earth. You let the sun hit your face and it's warm. And you close your eyes. And you can hear birds chirping. A bee buzzing. You can hear a brook babbling. A shadow comes across your eyes, and so you open your eyes and you see a bird flying across the sky. And over on one of the trees, a little squirrel scurries up the tree. You see a butterfly, really orange, bright butterfly, fly in front of you. And then you close your eyes again. And you feel the soft earth underneath you, the coolness on your body, the warmth of the sun on your face, and the sounds of the forest. And then you breathe. And you come to a place of stillness. You are fully relaxed and yet completely aware.
So please remain here as long as you'd like. Thank you for joining me. Namaste.